So here we are on Motivational Monday, getting ready to give God some praise, getting ready to let God know that we are still his children and that we trust him in every way. We don't have to be afraid no more. We don't have to be ashamed anymore. All you have to do now is trust and believe that God is your God and all will be fine, even when you can't see it. So this morning, we're going to talk about a man named David, a man who is deemed to be one after God's own heart. So come on, somebody, and let's give God some praise. As we let this praise music get in our spirit and in our soul, we want to read and we want to pray and we want to fast and we want to go before God and give him praise and honor him, for he is worthy of all praise. So if you can, just for a few minutes, let's just sit back and let the praise music play. Yeah. Your motivational Monday, baby. Yeah, I'm your motivational DJ. Come on. So as we get ready, go ahead and get your Bible now. Get your Bible, get ready. We're going to go to 1 Samuel. Get to 1 Samuel chapter 17. And I want to just hit a few points. But before we do all that, I want to let you know that you don't have to be ashamed. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to worry. Trust and believe that God is on your side and that everything that God has for us, we will have. Yeah, I like that. I like that. So here we go. Come on, somebody, give him some praise. Come on, somebody, give him some praise. Yeah. Come on, somebody, let's give him some praise. Yeah. Let's give him some praise. Come on, praise him. Come on, praise him. Come on and praise him. Yeah. So get your Bibles ready. We're going to get into 1 Samuel. We're going to go to chapter 17. And we want to read a little bit. I want to give you just a little history about what's going on. So that was a man, soldier, great soldier, by the name of Goliath. And Goliath has now come and challenged the armies of the Lord. The unfortunate thing about that is that the armies, the men who represent God's army are afraid of this man, Goliath, because he was big in stature. He's been a warrior since his youth. Evidently, he's killed many. He's been a warrior who has not lost a fight. And instead of both of the armies, the Philistine army and the Israelite army, fighting one another, they decided to have a one-on-one battle. One man from the Israelite army, another man from the Philistine army. And Goliath was their man. But we couldn't find nobody on the Lord's side. Fear had overtaken the company of men, and they could not overcome their fear. So no one would challenge this uncircumcised Philistine. But in today's time, we think about the things that are going on right now and who's going to stand up to these things that we're dealing with right now. Who's going to stand up and be counted, knowing that God is able and that God is willing and that God has not forgotten. Which one of us are going to do that? So we're going to continue. We're going to talk about David. So David comes on the scene. Young man, little ruddy man. They say he's a nice looking dude, but David comes and he hears this Philistine mocking the armies of the Lord. And that troubled David. Just like that would have troubled or should have troubled every man in that company, every man in that army, even the king Saul didn't want to have anything to do with this Goliath. They saw Goliath as a insurmountable problem. Just like we do today, just like we do today. We see problems and our fear overtakes us and it keeps us from being able to overcome the problem. So it makes us go into this dead state where we don't move, or where we'll start saying, well, if it's the Lord's will, well, it's always God's will. It's just not necessarily your belief that it is God's will, because you're thinking about your own abilities. We think about our own abilities. We think about how it is that we can make this thing work. And then we see that we don't have the power to do it. So that means it is an impossibility. But nothing is too hard for God. So let's get back to David. So you think about David hearing this Philistine as he mocked the armies of the Lord, and he's mocking God in a sense. And David was upset about that. And David went to the captains and the men, and he started talking about, hey, don't nobody hear this? Nobody is responding to this? What are we going to do about this? And the men just continued in their fear and in their lackadaisicalness about what was going on. But this thing really did bother David. And because it bothered him, he went to the king, Saul, and said, listen, I don't know if anybody has heard this, I'm paraphrasing, but this man is mocking the armies of God. In short, he's mocking God. Don't you know sometimes we go through some things, we deal with some stuff that causes us to take a back seat to what we know to be right, and we won't do it for the fear of losing something. And that causes us hardship. It causes us some pains. It causes us to be, how do you say, afraid. And when we get afraid, we have a tendency to not move. It incapacitates us. And when it does that, you're no good in the fight. You're no good in the fight. So getting back to David. So Saul goes and tells David, he said, hey, listen, young man, you don't want to go out here and challenge this man. You aren't ready for that. You aren't ready. This Philistine has been in the armies all of his life. He is a fighting machine. Going up against him, David, will definitely bring about your demise. So here we'll read, and we'll start at 1 Samuel chapter 17, and I want to bring you in on verse 34. Saul has now, 33, said to David, you're not able to go out against this Philistine and fight him. You are only a boy. And he has been a fighting man from his youth. But look at David's response in 34. David said, but David said to Saul, this servant me has been keeping my father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came to carry off the sheep from the flock, I went after it and struck it and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it and killed it. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, because he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine. Now listen, that is a powerful response to a king who is also afraid, when this young man has been in training all of his life. trained to fight a bear, lion. He has now understood that if God would save him through those things, that this one should be easy. This shouldn't be something that I got to do a whole lot about, because I am sure a bear or a lion would tear Goliath to shreds. But by the hand of the Lord, David overcame those obstacles. So he now is emboldened with power from God. He understands that as long as God is on his side, there is no defeat. I come to tell us this morning, brothers and sisters, that as long as God is on your side, as long as you recognize that there is none other, and that he is all powerful, and that he is all knowing. And watch this, more than anything else, he wants good for you. If you can know that, if you can get that in your Noah, if you can receive that in your spirit, then you will be encouraged. You will understand that come hell or high water, as long as you're on the Lord's side, nothing will come nigh your dwelling. God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. So don't worry. You will be rewarded. You will overcome. You will make it through this thing. Even when it seems like it is impossible, there is nothing too hard for God. Let's continue. So we go on. "45 says, David said to the Philistine," I like this part, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty." That statement alone is one that we should adopt in our vernacular. This is how we should feel about everything that we come up against. So David is calling out the Philistine. He recognized the powers that he has, sword, spear, javelin, but he understands that those things have no place, no power, no ability over the Lord Almighty. So let's get this in our Noah. I come against you, whatever that thing is in your life, whatever that thing is in your daily walk, whatever that thing is that is trying to take you out, whatever that thing is that the enemy has plotted against you, and it looks like he's trying to win, whatever that thing is, you tell it, I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you are trying to defile. This day, this is how we got to talk to these things. This is how we have to understand that no matter what else comes, no matter what may come, it is never stronger than the God we serve. 46 says, this day the Lord will hand you over to me, and I will strike you down and cut off your head. Whatever the problem is, it's not too hard for God. Whatever you think is going on, it's never too hard for God to fix. Now, here's the deal. He's going to use you to fix it. So this is when you have to get stronger. This is when your belief system has to be so intact that nothing can shake it. Because this is a fight for your life. This is a fight for your life. The Word of God tells us that God is a lifter of bowed down heads. So He'll lift you up in this trying time. COVID-19, 17, 20, 21, whatever it be. Death, hell, destruction cannot come nigh your dwelling. So my brothers and sisters, I want you to be encouraged. I want you to realize that just like God was there with David, oh, so is he there with you. You don't have to worry. He ain't ever lost a fight. He ain't ever lost a fight. There's never been anything that could come up against God that would almost win. If it looked like it, which it don't, because it can't. And all I want to tell you today is, you don't have to worry. God is on your side. And as long as God is on your side, you will be able to talk like David talked. You will be able to walk like David walked. You will have an understanding that says, God, I know all is well. Oh, no. Not that everything is going to be all right. It's that I know, I trust that all is well. And no matter what else happens, I know you got me. 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 There is nothing too hard for our God. We just have to stay encouraged. We got to know that there is nothing too hard for him. So today, as you go on your journey, those of us that are going to work, some that are going to work from home, some that's having to deal with marriage problems, somebody having to deal with some children problems, somebody having to deal with a sickness, somebody having to deal with, money issues, somebody having to deal with a car issue, somebody having to deal with some things that they have no control over. I want to encourage you today to make you know that you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry. The God that we serve is bigger and greater than anything you might ever be able to fathom in your mind. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. God has your back, your front, your side, your up, your down. No matter what you think you're going through, give God a praise. 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 Listen, give God a praise. Give God a praise. And while you're praising him, I want to leave you with this. You don't have to worry, because there is nothing too hard for the God that you serve. Trust him. Believe him. Let him fix what's broken. Let him change that situation. Let him turn your night to day. Let him wipe the tears from your eyes. Be ready. Be ready. Because the God that you serve is on the case. And there is nothing too hard for the God that we know is able to do all things but fail. So come on, somebody, just give him praise with him. And that's all you got to do. Just keep giving God praise. Just keep giving God praise. Just keep giving God praise. Hey, just keep giving God praise. You don't have to worry no more. All is well. Today is your day. Today is the day that you will come out. Today is the day for all to be well. You don't have to worry. Let him have it. Just let him have it. Turn it over to Jesus. Right now, he's waiting on you. He's waiting on you to say, God, I can't take it anymore. I can't do it anymore. I want to give this over to you because I'm weak. I'm frail, but you are strong and you are mighty. And I know that you're my God and that there is nothing too hard for you. I realize, God, that your arm is not too short. I realize, God, that you have more muscles than I can imagine. Father, I know that you are all-knowing, all-seeing. Lord, you knew this thing before I was even born. You knew this thing before I was even formed in my mother's womb. And I'm going to give you praise for it. I'm going to let you have this thing. I turn it over to you, Jesus, because now I know that you are on the case and that there is no failure in you. Your resume stands impeccable by itself. There is nothing, I mean nothing that's too hard for the God that we serve. Listen, this is your Monday morning DJ. I'm just letting you know, hey, give it over to him. Everything will be well.